Where can I attach the mics? What's the light? How fucking ugly is this furniture? And like, all these things.
Okay.
Yeah. But Theodor Diea.
Yes.
Cool. Welcome to the Creative Collaboration Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I thought we'd start right away with the basic question of how you got into the games industry.
I played a lot. I played a lot of video games, and when, I guess like right after high school, I needed a job, and I was like, what do I do? So I worked at a GameStop. It's much better than folding clothes, I thought. And would have people coming in from different studios, like retro studios. I was in Austin, Texas. So like there's NCSoft, Retro Studios, and Acclaim used to be there with Iguana Entertainment. And so developers would come every now and then, and I'd be like, do you have any tester roles? No, never. So I just kept selling video games.
Yeah.
Got my first car wreck, actually, trying to figure out where the office was for one of the studios. So I was like in a parking lot, just driving and looking up, trying to figure out, like squinting, like look to see like the number of the building. And they had like a divider between like parking lot A and parking lot B that I didn't see because I was staring up in the sky. So that was my first busted car, trying to figure out like which office to like creep to figure out how to get in.
Who to stop to get a job, and then like cost you dearly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so that wasn't a successful tactic. Then I got a degree in like international relations and diplomacy. So I had like this choice of like go work in Afghanistan or Iraq for the State Department, or not. So I chose not, and I moved to France, and for a person that I met, I was like, let's try that out, and I needed a job, so I applied to video game stores there too because I had a lack of confidence in finding something. But my old strategy of creeping came back.
All right, yeah.
And I figured out like, okay, Blizzard is over here, Ubisoft is over there. I love going to the bars with friends. Why don't we go to the bars close to those studios? And I started meeting people that were working there. And then over time, it's like, hey, we're hiring for this. And I would apply. And like, hey, can you put my like application a little bit higher on the stack?
To build some connections, essentially.
Yeah.
Some BD work.
Yeah. So that's why I got my first gig was supposed to be at Blizzard as like an IT person. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have like the paperwork necessary to actually work in France because I was there illegally. Details.
Yeah.
So then I figured out how to like legalize my stay there, and tried again. And I got a Ubisoft offer, and so I started as a communications coordinator for the international production department.
And where was this in time?
That was July 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a one year contract. The person that was doing that was going on maternity leave. She left 48 hours after I showed up. And that was me. So I definitely knew exactly what I was doing.
I'm sure. Trial by fire, etc. Yeah. Okay, and then
I mean, I had an interim manager that was there, right?
Yeah.
She was like, "Who is this waste of space?"
They took care of you in some fashion. Yeah. And then you moved on somewhere else.
Yeah. So I did a year communications coordination, and that was interesting because I got to see like I was sat maybe like a few meters away from the company's like operating officer and like the creative officer for the company and stuff like that. So I'd see kind of like how editorial HQ would operate. But that wasn't my jam. Like it was way too many politics and paper pushing and bureaucracy. I wanted to go into a video game studio. So I applied for a testing job, and then promptly took a huge salary cut.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. But,
Yeah, no, it was like I had an okay entry level gig, and I went down to like minimum wage, but happiness level
with a passion,
way up. Yeah. I got to like see how the sausage is made for the first time, and I was like, holy hell, I have no idea what I'm doing. They keep asking me like if it's an engine bug or if it's code or if it's this or that, and I was like, what are you talking about? It was development testing, and I had never seen an engine in my life. I had never seen like anything, and it was just like, just go, come on, quick, find more bugs, figure out what the steps to reproduce are, how often do they show up, all the details. And I was probably the worst tester they had ever had for the first 3 months. Like my boss was actually like, I think you're the worst person I've ever had. So
yeah, and not to be that way, but in France they would tell you, right?
Yeah. They really don't like sugarcoat. It's not like West Coast America or Canada where it's like, you're doing really, really good, but if you could just do this one thing.
Yeah, there's room for improvement.
Yeah.
All right, and then you moved on to some other role.
So I did development testing for a bit. I was their worst tester ever in history, and then after 6 months, I was given like a associate QC lead role. So I guess I fixed my act or whatever.
Yeah.
And then after, so the French they have temporary contracts, 1.5 years I think, and you can string 2 of those, and then you can't stay employed anymore unless they give you a permanent. And I think Ubisoft wasn't super down for permanents. So I did a 1.5 year thing for testing, and then I switched over to marketing on the same title, Ghost Recon Future Solider.
Because why not try something else you haven't done?
Well, I was like, why not have a little bit more money? Because the overtime and the minimum wage and stuff was like,
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So and like the dev team, they were not like fans of like the in-house marketing team, because that's like a old school thing, you know, like, oh, we're developers, those marketing assholes, what do they know, you know? So it was kind of cool for someone from the dev team, even if I was dev tester, not like developer, because there's that divide also. Coming in and being the marketing person, but actually knowing how to open, you know, some files and clear cache and, you know, use a dev kit. So that was cool. I did a stint actually from the Paris studio. I went to Red Storm for that marketing gig, and then I went to Newcastle at Reflection Studio for Just Dance 4 on marketing, and that was crazy. It was the first time I had to do like a trailer with human beings, right? And it's like cameras, microphones, a set, makeup, like all these things I had no idea how they worked. Yeah. And I didn't have a boss up there. He was in Paris. I was like, what's the budget? And he's like, it's Just Dance. What does that mean? So it was again like just kind of like figuring things out on your own. So yeah, did Just Dance 4, Just Dance 2014, and then I went with a little indie group. It was a programmer, an artist, a designer, and they were starting up a studio, and then I was like, I will do like the marketing thing for y'all. So I came up with like the name of the game, the name of the studio, contributed to some design ideas. Devolver Digital ended up picking up that title, and then I didn't have a job because they're kind of a marketing thing. So and there wasn't like a fixed contract. And there was a little bit of friction between me and one of the members there. So I was like, whatever. I learned some stuff. I'll take some learnings from that. I went into mobile. So I was a community manager for a 1-month contract because somebody got Zika. And so they needed a body for 1 month. And on the last day of my contract there, they gave me a permanent contract as a marketing manager. This is like the thing I'd been chasing for like 6 years in Paris, the permanent contract. So I got that, and then they bumped me up to a live operations manager like a month after that. So that was cool. That was the first time I was actually like leading a team of like developers, like programmers and designers and stuff like that, like a mini producer. And like checking the data and then like seeing like what we do, and then, you know, just like have a roadmap with like immediate feedback on like, you did something super stupid. Look, you just lost all these players. Or you did something pretty smart. You know, they're sticking around longer and you're generating more money. So I was like, I like this. I like this like overview role a lot. So I wanted to be a producer to have more of that. But I didn't want to go into like the new field and be a production coordinator and then a production manager and then an associate producer and then a producer. So I thought, like, how do I do that without spending like 5 years like climbing the ladder? And I figured the best way to do it would be to go like apply for jobs in a country that nobody wanted to live in, and work for a company that nobody wanted to work for. So just find the worst thing possible. I got hired by that target, and I did like the people there, but that company, that studio no longer exists, so I guess I can say. It was the Gameloft studio in Cluj, in Romania. And at the time, they had somebody at Gameloft that was at the top that was like, he had this like iron fist dictator, like total asshole vibe to him. Like everybody was aware of that, and nobody wanted to work for that company at the time. It's changed. It's different people now. And Romania just, you know, they don't get paid much. Romanians usually leave the country. I'm Romanian, so I can say it.
Yeah, you absolutely. Yeah.
I was actually born there, so it was also like a chance for me to reconnect with my language. So that was my producer gig. And somebody that I met while working in Paris at Gumi on the mobile company, we got together. She moved with me, and now we're like married with kids. So she moved there with me, and then after a year, she's like, "We need to go somewhere else. I miss my language. I need French." And I was like, "But French is hard. Let's stick with English." And so we decided on Montreal.
Yeah, compromise.
Compromise. That's the foundation of all collaboration.
Yeah.
So Montreal, senior producer on Modern Combat Versus. It's another shooter from the Gameloft repertoire of brands. And from there, Ubisoft, leading Rainbow Six Siege for mobile. And that led to then getting sick of giant corporations with politics and trying something out of my own. And I pitched this little known company, small outfit out of Sweden called Embracer.
Never heard.
Actually, it was an Amplifier Game Invest, which is one of the 6 verticals of Embracer at the time.
Yeah, with Per Arne.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys,
yeah.
Dante, those guys, yeah.
So it was a pitch where I pitched the studio without a game, with no game design, no game mentioned. It was game 1, game 2, game 3, with like an approach of how that would be done and how like we would work on like the strategy for people and the strategy for tech and the strategy for like the studio.
More like a VC pitch than
I never pitched something like that. I just
makes.
I was like, how do you pitch? I don't know. Like this is my idea, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, super cool, super weird. You're like the only pitch that's pitched without a game. That's like how do we greenlight when we can't have a forecast on? And I was like, but like who cares about the game? It's about the studio. And then we're going to make games, and we're going to talk about those games. At first, like, this is the vision. Like, no, give me a game. I gave them a game, like, 2 months later. And they're like, too risky. So I just asked them, like, well, again, like, we're flexible. There's a lot of great game ideas that we could explore. Like, what do you do Amplifier Game Invest want? And they're like, well, we like Coffee Stain. And I was like, cool. I like Coffee Stain too. Like they make a lot of great games. If you want something that could fit within their portfolio but have it within your portfolio, like that's awesome. I have like 17 ideas for you. So we came back like 2 months later with a pitch, and then I got greenlit, and then I got to learn to be CEO and creative director and stuff.
Cool. Yeah. So in your career, essentially, you've learned new things on every
every year.
That's cool. Yeah. And do you want to say anything more about Goose Byte? Like where you now, what you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, it started off as a really different pitch than what it is now, because there was the promise of a lot of money to work with. So there's a lot of research and development. Like the first 2 years of the studio was basically all R&D. We started as UE5 was releasing, so this is before 5.2 with the ProcGen and stuff like that. And what we were doing is we were trying to do a ProcGen world, but instead of No Man's Sky, which is laterally wide, forever, it's ProcGen as far as you can go. We want to go deep on one planet, and have every action that you do have a reaction, and migrations of creatures and whatever else, and also have the crafting be user generated content crafting instead of designer driven ones. So just give people building blocks and then have it be blueprint driven. So we were on that, and we were prototyping, we were chugging along, but then a few things shifted in the gaming landscape. Yeah. So then Goose Byte became property of Theodor Diea instead of Embracer. I picked it up to avoid the hazard of potentially shutting down. Amplifier were happy with the deal because it's less burn for them to worry about, and our game wasn't going to come out anytime soon. Then I was happy with it because I didn't want to go back and work for somebody else. I want to continue what I was building.
Yeah, finish what you started.
Yeah. But
and you just came out with the trailer, right?
Yes. So yeah, we pivoted to make a game that had the same vibe of what I wanted people to feel when they were playing that game. The expensive version. I had to capture those feelings in something more modest in terms of budget. So what that entailed was really focusing on honing in on more familiar moment-to-moment stuff, solutions that exist. So you see the way crafting happens in Planet Crafter or Subnautica, stuff like that. We went with a more traditional thing. It's easier to pull off. There's less figuring things out, because that's where things get expensive, is when you're inventing new moment-to-moment. Yeah. And then we put all our focus on the execution of the story. So instead of multiplayer, it's single player, and instead of innovating on 14 different fronts, we just picked our battles and said, this is what we want to do. So yeah, I mean, this is going live what tomorrow, next day? When is this going? The trailer is going out Wednesday. And we'll be announcing that we have Patricia Somerset as the main voice talent for our game. She did Zelda,
cool,
and Ash and Rainbow Six.
We're not live, so
cool.
The game will come out already.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then the name of the game.
Oh yeah. The Signal Stranded on Sirenis.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll be doing a demo October 13th. And we're also preparing a Kickstarter. And then we've also signed up with a VR publisher, so the game will be adapted to VR. So that's already in the works.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks. Long background, or different, varied background. And I'm sure you picked up a lot of the stuff that we're gonna talk about.
Hopefully.
In the coming hour or so. But can you describe your role in the creative process? Either earlier or in your current role at Goose Byte?
So I think my my role is constantly kind of like adjusting according to the needs and as I learn. Like I think like, you know, the more you work, the more you learn, and you never stop learning, right? And at a certain point, what the studio needed and what the team needed was direction, somebody to take decisions and, you know, lead in towards something. So early on, that was like, it was more about like figuring that out and having the conviction to know that like I believed in those choices, and then like get people going on a path, marrying it with like budget constraints, production constraints, so like how many people are we, how can we afford it, looking at like what's out there as well, of like how do we market this idea, how do we differentiate it, how do we like make people notice it. So like having a little bit of like product vision, like marketing and product vision, like finance and production capacity, and then also just like intuition, or like just like, you know, emotions about what I want to make, what I like. That was kind of like that was the stance that I was coming from earlier on. As you get people invested on the project, you know, they're working on a thing that's more intimately tied to it. Like the artist is making the actual like assets in the world and the creatures, and like the programmers are making the systems and how they interact. The designers are setting up like the layout of the levels and the world and stuff, and like the balancing. So they get in and maybe a little bit more of a narrow view, but much closer. And you don't want to be a dictator with that. You don't want to be like, actually make the rock differently, or act, you know, like yeah, like so like I try like that's the balance, is letting people, giving people free reign to own as much of it as possible. And if like somebody's like more into a different style of game, they might like have a level design that's a little different than what you imagined, right? And being okay with it not being how you imagined it, because by it being not that way, you're giving somebody else a voice as well. But if they take it too far, it might break what you're trying to do, because there's like a limit, you know. But it's hard to know where that limit is. So that's, I think, the struggle is to like maintain a cohesive direction, and know when to intervene about like, okay, that's just a hard no, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, obviously, you know, in a smaller or indie studio, you have maybe more hats than you would have had at a bigger company, and at Goose Byte you combine like, you know, a little bit of producer with marketing and creative leadership. Yeah. All right, cool. And can you remember the first time you were part of a team where like creative collaboration played a role, and what was that like?
I mean, I would say even as a development tester at Ubisoft, my first title, there was a little bit of that, at least that from my perspective, because you'd be testing the features, like basically every single commit, you know, you test it. Would work with the teams, like we were with like I was with like the 3Cs team at first, right, and then the UI team and the 3Cs, and then all the programmers. And so like 4-player co-op was my baby as much as anybody else's, you know, like having the game look and feel and play a certain way. Like it was also up to me, because I would set the priorities on the bugs. I would like put the focus on certain things. Obviously the producer's there, obviously the leads are there, but you could come up and be like, hey, look at what, you know, what Gears is doing. Wouldn't it be better if we did this, you know? And like you'd have these conversations. So
there was room for that.
Yeah, I think there was room for that, because it was, you know, it was a much bigger team, but it was still a team that fit inside a giant cafeteria hall. Right? So it wasn't it was like a big open space.
Yeah.
But like ultimately it'd be like squads of like, 12 people that were working on a thing, right? And then it's like this squad of 12, that squad of 12, that one. So like the 50 people that are gonna do the thing. Like I didn't know the artists that would like work on the lighting and the shadows and stuff, but I definitely knew like the gameplay team, right?
Got it.
And so like everybody did have, we all went to the bar together and bitched about, headquarters or whatever, and then
that's what it does.
Yeah.
And what does a creative collaboration mean to you?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Creative collaboration. No, I mean it's game making or any kind of artwork that takes a lot of people with different like skill sets and backgrounds is creative collaboration.
Yeah.
But I think like it extends to stuff that's not game making also. Like the art of marketing a game is a lot also. There are creatives, there's data, there's like people with different backgrounds that come together to execute the difficult job of discoverability, right? So I think like it goes beyond what like your average like devs are gonna say.
Yeah, I mean the thesis of this sort of this podcast is essentially like it's very hard to make a game, and one of the reasons is that you have the narrative, the art, the tech, the systems, the whatnot, the marketing, just enable to be able to ship like a successful game,
and just a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people, and people have people speak to one another differently. In every team I've ever known, they've come from different countries and regions, right? So culturally, it's a mishmash oftentimes, and there are a lot of bruised egos along the way, constantly, and a lot of it is just like unintentional, good meaning, but unintentional because somebody's more direct than somebody else because I don't know, they're Dutch and then the other person is Californian or whatever, right? And then some of it is because some people are just jerks.
Yeah, that happens unfortunately. In all industries, obviously. But also I think inherently because there's so many people involved, and it's such you need so many different skills to make a game or a successful game in this case. Those people are also different. Sometimes based on what they do and what I wouldn't say like an artist has a personality that's different from a programmer, but there's something there, right? So what we're trying to figure out with this, and it's by talking to people like you and other guests, is like how the hell do we make it work, because we need all these skills, but they're inherently different in a way, right?
Yeah, it's tricky, and I think like everyone's approach to it is painted by their own experiences. Some people are like, never involve the artists. I think I had a conversation with somebody just like yesterday, and clearly that person might have worked on 2, 3, 4 projects where the art team were difficult and maybe like seen as slowing down progress on whatever features or whatever, others are like, engineers, they're always trying to engineer something because they can't just get it done. They need to make they love making systems. They're going to go out of their way to make more than they need, So everybody has that like approach and not approach, but like you hear these little anecdotes from people of like these people, this style of like field, they do this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like it is what it is. You just learn to deal with it. You learn to find in my case, building a team, like I think like I like the people we have. Everyone is easy to work with. I get everything.
You hire them, so
yeah.
But Interesting. And so essentially, I mean, what we're talking about now is essentially when those, let's call them silos or whatever it is, like when that happens, I'd say like that's not great creative collaboration.
No.
But can you, do you think that being like a good collaborator, is that something you can learn over time or something you need to be born with? Or?
No, that's learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, it's like some people that are not open to feedback and others that are open to feedback. I feel like people that are open to feedback are open to learning how to collaborate better, right? Because you're going to, like I said, bruise some egos along the way, sometimes inadvertently, oftentimes, and being able to like listen to other people's perspectives and listen to people telling you like, hey, this is the impact of how you're doing things, and now nobody wants to work with you because of XYZ, or you know, like these kinds of discussions. If you are open to it and genuinely want to work with people to make it, like if you believe that something is going to be better by having multiple people actually like engage in that creation, then I think you'll also be open to the feedback and learn to collaborate. Some people just think that they're hot shit and do everything better than everybody, and then they're just not gonna. Yeah. You know.
So you think it's an ego thing, or
it's a personality
the other way around, where it's like you need the openness and just some humility.
Yeah, I
understanding
think so.
of others.
Yeah.
You know, skills and stuff like that. Okay.
That's my personal.
Yeah. No, that's good. And in your experience, do you think there's like a right balance or a balance between strong individual creative vision and team alignment in some way?
I wish I knew.
Yeah.
Like I've had the case made that like the tyrant style, the director style, the not director but like the dictatorial style, like is the way to go, because that's the one way to get a cohesive vision going, where it's like we've seen these games come out where it's like kind of vanilla, kind of bland. It's like, cool, there's this idea and that idea and the other idea, but it all feels just like generic, like designed by committee. Like nobody wants to play that, right? Like really, like just stop it. You know, stop wasting your time. So like playing a design by committee game is utterly pointless, and that can be construed as like the ultimate like result of collaboration, where like nobody ruffles any feathers, everybody does exactly what's the best practice here. What's the first time user experience, we should have a little indicator here, that's, you know, like just like best practices, and no one pushing for anything that could bother someone. You're just going to get something bland. So if you have a team where it's like, I'm going to make a game where you play as the moon and you fart out asteroids, and that is my vision, like, cool. I don't think I've seen a game where you play as the moon and fart out asteroids before, right?
No, me neither.
And people might say that's not a good game idea, but like if someone's in charge and is able to push that through, then they get you know, they do it. So then you get Death Stranding or whatever it is that you get, right? Like Kojima style productions. I don't think he's very like, I don't think he bends.
No, I would guess that too.
I don't know.
No,
I'm making an assumption, right? I don't want to like name names, but like I don't know.
But he's famous enough to mention, I think.
Yeah.
Without knowing him.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, thanks. That makes sense. And in your career, can you name like one project where like the creative collaboration like successfully really stood out? Something you remember, where it's like, you know, the team gelled, or the other way around.
Well, while I ruminate on the first one, let's start with the second.
Cool. Yeah. Start with the bad.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think it's good in that, like, you learn things when things go sideways. Ghost Recon Future Solider is a video game.
Yeah, I've played it.
Came out in 2012. It was my first experience. I was the development tester on the campaign and the single player multiplayer campaign, basically, right? And I did that for, I don't know, a year and a half. It had a multiplayer mode that wasn't cooperative as well, right? And that one was not done in Ubisoft Paris studio with help from Ubisoft Bucharest. There was another team at Red Storm in Raleigh, North Carolina, that was doing the multiplayer adversarial mode. And I go there. And so I'd been like, I was sent there to do my first marketing gig, to like help with the marketing. So I was like, go help on the multiplayer. I had just come off of being like the head like 3Cs dev tester. I go and see the multiplayer version because I'd never seen it in our builds. Like it was just like never there. Like what is the design? Who knows? It's another team. It wasn't the same game. It was literally a different executable.
Wow.
Because they couldn't agree on the basics of 3Cs, of like parameters for vaulting, of camera angle, of distance, of speed. Like they so fundamentally disagreed on the aesthetics and the feel of the like, camera control and character that they just, fuck it, we're not working with each other. It's a retail disc shipping to market, up against Gears of War 3, whatever. And it's literally 2 games because they couldn't stand each other and could not work with each other. And so they just said, I don't know. We need, the back of the box needs to say it's all these things. So that you play the single player game and you have like, it's got a feel, right? You spend 12 hours, 20 hours, whatever. You're like, okay, cool, let's try out the multiplayer. Totally different game.
Are there any tools, workflows, structures similar that you found particularly helpful in like the creative collaboration in your career?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been the same. It's been gather everybody around a whiteboard, and more recently Miro, right? Like that's ultimately, I think, like making sure that everybody has a chance to express what they have, and being able to do these like sessions of like let's visualize what we want is super important. The other thing is just making sure that everybody has a chance to play the game, right? Because sometimes teams get busy in the making of it and not in the like playing it and then discussing it. It sounds super obvious, but
it sounds like something that could have helped that other project you were talking about before.
No, but I mean, but I don't think you need tools to listen to people, and to know what you're making. You just need to like talk to each other. And
do you think it's extra important when it's like cross-discipline to do gather at least someone from each department or team or
there are too many things that you might take for granted in like what you do that somebody doesn't really know or understand that perspective. So being able to be in a room and be like, this is what we want to do. Oh wait, hold on, let me raise a flag about this. This is going to create a problem because of X, Y, Z. And then like you can save a lot of time and headache by like communicating more earlier on.
And what about remote work? Does it become even more important, or should you view it differently or handle it differently?
Honestly, I don't know, because my remote work experience has been in very small teams. I have no idea how like a Ghost Recon would happen today, right? Like a 80-person team or 130-person team. Like I haven't had that experience remotely. I've had like 24 people on the project, but not that much. And for that, I mean, just having a bunch of I would say banish direct messages is what I would say. Don't let people do direct messages to each other. Like that's like culturally in a remote team, and I do direct messages too sometimes. everybody tends to kind of just be like, I'm just gonna like poke with one person and just get it done fast. But when you start having too many channels of direct messages, you start having like knowledge loss and communication gaps, and so you need to have your groups set up. Not so much where it's spammy, not enough to where people don't see it, but yeah, you need to like that. That's I think a really important part of remote work is to like really think about communication flow in like the tool that you're using, whether it's Discord or Slack or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think because there's, seems to me like there's a balance then between like, all right, so let's everyone at least have access to the information or this conversation that's going on between these two people versus nobody wants to get pinged all day.
Notification settings. Yeah. Like just teach everyone how to set that up. Yeah. And then like some people want to see everything. Some people don't. Sometimes you can, use the notify if it's really important. But otherwise, so it's about like taking the time again just to like reinforce communication standards. And that works. That's applicable even to a small team.
Send people to Slack school, essentially.
I guess, yeah.
It's but it's a form of culture.
It is the new way to work now. Remote work. I mean, the big companies are trying to like come back to the office or you are fired type of thing. Like I think that's what they're doing now. But I don't think we're going back. Like I think remote work
it's probably like we're over that. So to speak, right? Like what's your personal preference? In terms of working remote, or I want everyone. I
miss the energy of like having everybody in the same like room. But I also really like the flexibility of working from home, and so does everybody else. I think I'm fine with fully remote. But I think like if you have the means to do it, have a space for people that feel the need for socializing, because it can have like a pretty heavy impact on you if you need to get out of the house. Not everybody has the same like setup also. Like some people are just like in tiny little boxes, right? Like they need to go. So
I think what I hear a lot is, first of all, like the classic coffee machine banter disappears, but also like in any like really creative stage of development, it's like super important to some people that like everyone should be in a room together, because there's so much I'm gonna say body language, but there's things get lost over the ether.
I mean you will always get a better read on how things are face to face. I think you'll get a better collaborative result. But when you build a team and you have people that are not all in the same location, what are you going to do about it, right? Like you can. So
it's worth the trade-off, you would say.
I mean, it depends. It depends on like, what are you trying to do? What's your structure? What's the company? Like, is it important? Like we are remote, fully remote, but we're all in Montreal basically. We have a few people in like Toronto and stuff, but like almost exclusively local, so that we can all work from home comfortably and all get together for beers occasionally.
You can get the social.
Because I think I think that's important. The like the face-to-face stuff is like know who you're working with kind of thing. So it's not like working as a team isn't always about the work. It's always about like the team.
I mean, that's the social part of it obviously helps with the other things that we've talked about, like ego and openness and like trusting someone to like excel at their role and not like micromanaging or meddling or
We used to do like social gaming also every Friday for 2 hours. And we should still, because that helped a lot. And just sometimes things get busy.
And so tricky question. Have you ever had to kill a darling, if you know what I mean? Any particular example you wanna bring up?
I mean, the Signal Stranded on Sirenis demo coming out soon was a very different game, pitched around very innovative mechanics, and I killed the whole thing to reshape it into something that I know I can ship under the current constraints of the market. So that was like that was a big darling that I killed. Yeah. That was a lot of time. There was a lot of things also that was going for. But playing what we have now, it's like, oh, this is actually way more fun. So in the end, that was a good thing. And then there's little things. There's tiny details, things that are like so unimportant in the grand scheme of things, but like in the moment, that week, you're like, no, it must be this. We have to do this. It's super important. And then you get, sometimes I get outvoted by people working on the game, and my amazing idea is maybe everybody else doesn't think it's that amazing. And so it's like, well, I'm not gonna, like, again, is that idea crucial to the overall direction, or is it just me being a baby? So lots of little things have been killed that way, just so that like you leave space.
No, yeah, and I think that defines in a way creative collaboration, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're creating creatively something together.
Yeah.
And maybe, as you said before, maybe there's like a few, hurt egos or something on the way, but the end product is actually better because of, I wouldn't say everyone's feedback, but like at least we brought it up, we looked at it, we discussed it.
But like the thing is like, like I have a strong idea of what would make a great game. But like also the people working on the project, they play more than me right now, right? Like I've got like, 2 kids and all sorts of stuff, like
admin and
lots of things going on.
Startup life isn't the most creative always. And speaking of which, how early in the, let's call it the creative process of making or shipping a successful game, do you think that commercial voices should be heard or let in, like the non-traditional creative?
I would say from the same time, like day one. Because at the end of the day, if you're not thinking about a game from the perspective of, can I execute on this financially? Like, is this even possible? Or are we just dreaming big dreams that are impossible to finance? Can I execute on this idea with the talent that I think I can like coordinate and band together to make this happen, is, like, can we do it even if we had the resources? And then also when it does get to market, can it like pierce through the other 19,000 games that release every year? Like literally 19,000 last year, right? And
so like market research and those kind of things and ear to the ground.
At least like market research is like a big word, and then you have like expensive like people like Newzoo or whatever. Like you don't need to go down that route, but like at least know what other games, like if you have a great idea, like take the time to like triple check like what other games are in that like vein. Why did they succeed, and then find ones that failed and figure out why they failed. I actually spend way more time looking for failures than successes to try and like look at the reviews, figure out like, is it just because it was undercooked? Is there something else? Like what is it, and just just have an idea about what your go-to-market strategy is going to be. I think that's important.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. It's been really fun. Anyone else you want to see on the podcast?
So I don't know him. I think I messaged him once on LinkedIn or something.
Okay.
But Tim Train would be pretty cool. He was the producer on like Civilization 3 maybe and Alpha Centauri, and then he went on to be involved with, I believe, big huge games like Rise of Nations and stuff. And then most recently he's general manager at Second Dinner, the Marvel Snap people. I've played a lot of his games. Like personally, I love that type of game. So if I get to like hear what he has to say through his experience about creative collaboration, that would be super dope.
I don't know him, so no guarantees, but I'll definitely try to reach out and mention that you're a fanboy. I could leave that part out as well, but
my former boss from Ubisoft when I was on Rainbow Six just I think recently got a gig over at that studio, so maybe I can like reach out from my end.
Yeah, I appreciate it, obviously. Yeah. And then last question, where can people find out more about what you do, about Signal, Goose Byte? Signals.
So the signal stranded on Sirenis.
Mm-hmm.
We are in the pre-campaign for a Kickstarter because we have a lot of great ideas that just require a little bit more help. And then of course, like all of our information is on Discord. You can find the link on our Steam page. And we will be doing a lot of really cool stuff that we will be announcing super shortly.
Cool, exciting.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to put any links in the show notes. So
cool. Yeah, it's been a long journey, and it's exciting to see like it come together.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Dia.
Yeah. Cool.